Hi, tonight's video is inspired by last night's goofing around. So I basically wasted a ton of last night, like watching a bunch of dumb random YouTube things. And a lot of them weren't even that good. Like I was watching like a ton of different users like top 10 shark movie lists. And it was funny because like a lot of people like really stupid cheesy movies, and I think it's just because it makes them laugh. So you keep seeing things like Sharknado and Sharkalance and Sharkopus and all these really stupid movies. So it made me think about how horror movies in general tend to be really stupid. Like, just not very realistic. And maybe that's like a lot of movies in general are pretty stupid and not realistic, but in other genres, some of them are a little bit better with the suspension of disbelief, and some of them play out pretty well. Like Napoleon Dynamite was stupid, but that could totally happen in real life. He's just a dumb teenager who does his dumb Napoleon Dynamite stuff. Things are exaggerated a little, like Uncle Rico and whatnot, but it's not that far fetched. So it inspired me to try to make like a list of like 10 horror movies that I actually thought were kind of realistic and where there were some pretty scary moments. And some of them are definitely better than others. But this is the list I came up with, and it's not in very good order. I just randomly wrote them down, but I'll try to mess around with it some, try to make it better. Let's see. Okay, so like The Descent, this came out in 2005, and this is a movie I think would be super good if there weren't the monsters in it. Like, just the beginning part of the movie, they're like in this freaky cave and going through all these wicked tunnels and whatnot. Like, I don't know, it's just like one of those things. I don't even have claustrophobia, but some of the things they chose to do just gave me like the willies. Like, you just feel like you're gonna get trapped because you don't know how long this tunnel goes and if it's gonna keep getting narrower, and how challenging is it gonna be to try to inch your way out backwards if you can't keep going forward. And so I thought this could have been a good movie if they just went on their cave exploration and it caved in the way it did and they had to find a way out. But they added the monsters, and it wasn't done badly. Like, for having monsters, it was pretty entertaining, but I just think it could have even been better if it didn't have the fake monsters in it. And then, like, I thought that the concept in Hostel and Hostel 2 and in Touristas was pretty freaky. Like going to a foreign country where you're not really familiar with things and having evil people take advantage of the fact that you don't know where you're at and they're trying to make money off your body. Because in the hostels, it's basically like all these ridiculously rich people that like they auction off these tourists they catch, and then these people, whoever bids the highest, gets the person and does some kind of wicked thing to them, and then they end up dying. And it's like, man, that's messed up. And like when you're seeing the part, because I never really saw all of the first one all the way through, but the second one I did in the theater, and the part where they like are auctioning them off, and you're just like, man, that like really nailed me. I'm like, that's nuts. And I mean that same thing happened in Taken with Liam Neeson's daughter in the movie, and it seems so messed up seeing human beings auctioned, but in real life that happens, right? Like there's the whole sex trade and stuff, and They literally kidnap and auction off and sell off human beings. I mean, just like they used to do with the slaves back in the day. So that's messed up stuff, and to me, that's kind of like horror. So I thought all those had an element. And in Touristas, obviously, they were doing the whole organs thing, and the whole thing, like the part where they're transferring the people and they try to get away, and he tries to protect his girlfriend, and they chop off his fingers with the machete and hack him down, and then she's all frantically running away as fast as she can and goes right off the cliff. But the worst part of that was like the very, very beginning, like when they're just like removing her organs while she's still alive. There's like, it's just insane. It was messed up. I hate stuff like that. So that's like horror as well. There were parts in that one that weren't 100% realistic. Like a lot of that seemed scary because it seemed not that far-fetched, but I think the part where he was in the public place and the one employee of his disappointed him and he like stuck the pen through his eye or something, and he's like, it is better to do the wrong thing than to do nothing. But I don't think even a little place like that that you could get away with that. You can't just go stabbing people through the head right in a public place. Like, there has to be some discretion. So, pardon my hand there, there was a bug on the screen. Kind of like how I disappeared a little earlier because my list fell down. Alright, now, people, they were doing their list on shark movies, and it got me thinking, like, almost all the movies, like sharks, spiders, snakes, crocodiles, they're almost all really, really stupid. So, I have, I think, 4 animal ones on here, and 3 of them are crocodile ones. Primeval was probably the most famous of the 3 I have on the list. It's about that big, it was based off that big crocodile Gustav in Africa. He's like over 20 feet long. He really exists, and he's killed a lot of people. A lot of people die from crocodiles in Africa. The Nile River is not a safe place. And there were some parts in that that were pretty hokey, but compared to things like Lake Placid and stuff, it was pretty good. And then I thought Rogue was even better than Primeval. I think maybe at the end it went a little far-fetched, but the beginning part was pretty cool. Like, their boat gets wrecked and they're stuck on that little island and the water keeps rising and there's this huge, huge crocodile and just trying to get them. That one was well done. It was pretty suspenseful. And then the other one that I have that's a crocodile one is Black Water. And this one was straight up like a masterpiece. They did this one correctly. This is like, I think it's based off a true story, but even if it isn't, they did it like how it would be. Like if uh, 2 girls and a guy went to Australia and had a guide take them out fishing on a little boat, and a big saltwater crocodile flipped the boat and ate the guide, and the 3 of them had to survive, and he slowly started picking them off. This was done exactly how it would be done in the wild. It was really, really well done. They may have done a couple silly things for suspense reasons and whatnot, but I was happy with this movie. This was a good horror movie. This is one of the few horror movies I saw where I wasn't just laughing at how stupid it was, because that never scares me when things just seem fake and stupid and dumb, but when it seems like a situation you could find yourself in real life, and the odds are heavily stacked against you, like you're in the water and there's a huge saltwater crocodile, so you're way out of your element and it's in its element big time and it's physically superior to you in a huge, huge way. Yeah, that's scary. Okay, so another one I had on here is an animal movie. It's called Prey, and it's kind of a low budget movie, but it's basically about these people that go out in Africa and they're in their Jeep and these lions are trying to get them, and I thought they did this one really well and it was really realistic. Even though it's like not a big budget and not a famous movie or anything, I thought it was well done. I thought it was scary. I mean, lions are far physically superior to us, and so it's another one of those one-sided things where they were just way outgunned strength-wise. These lions were could tear them apart like it was nothing. So that was a good movie. And then there's one on here that's not an animal one, it's a person one called Wolf Creek, which I thought was done really well. This old Australian like pulls out the spark plugs from these three people's vehicle while they're hiking. They come back, it won't start, kind of sit there frustrated for hours, and then late at night these headlights come and this old Australian comes and he offers to help them, and he takes them way out in the middle of nowhere, and then he just starts torturing them and whatnot. It's like craziness, but there was nothing that seemed very unrealistic because he was really hospitable and nice and gave them some water and was talking about how this water out in the outback was the best water in the world, and obviously he had drugged the water, and so they all passed out, and then he could like tie them up and everything when they were passed out, so then he had the power from that point, so there weren't any stupid unrealistic parts like him overpowering three people at the same time or anything. I thought this one was done well, and it was scary because again it seemed like something that could really happen. And then the last one on my list was of course inspired by seeing all these people's shark movies, and this is the only shark movie I've ever seen that I thought was good. I've never seen Open Water. I heard that's good. I don't like the shaky cam thing, and I heard it has that, but I heard it was done well. Jaws may be the best famous shark movie. There's some unrealistic stuff in it, but for being in 1975 when they had the knowledge of sharks that they had back then, it was a really good horror movie, and it was number one on a lot of people's list. And Deep Blue Sea was on a lot of people's list too, and that one's pretty silly, but I've seen it and it's fun. Like, I enjoyed it when I watched it, and if someone was playing it again, I would enjoy watching it and laughing along with them. So I could see why it was on a lot of people's list, but I don't know. Some of the ones, like, I know people are just laughing because they're stupid and that's the point, but the Sharkopus and the Sharknadoes and the Sharkalanche and all these stupid shark movies, they just don't do it for me. They're too dumb. Sand Shark, all this stupid stuff. So the one I thought was really well done was the Reef, because it looks like through the whole movie they use a real shark. It probably just footage that some naturalist got or something, and they're putting it in there, but the behavior and stuff matched. Like, I don't know if it was being territorial or it just was hungry and hadn't had much success hunting, so these human beings are way out of their element and super easy to catch. They're weak and they can't swim well. But basically it's just like this big great white slowly picking off these four people whose boat crashed who have to swim a really long way. And it was really well done and really scary because it was easy to identify with them. So that's my list of 10 horror movies that I thought were actually good. And like The Descent, I kind of was saying how it would be if it was altered a little bit, but still, like, as far as horror movies go, I thought these ones were pretty good. So that's what I thought I would do a video on tonight. So hope you enjoyed that.